Hi, I'm Tarah Runco. Welcome to Chef in It, a cooking series where I'm inviting Colorado's best chefs to teach us how to bring a taste of their restaurant into your home kitchen. In this episode, I'm joined by a highly regarded chef and someone I've known for years, Lon Symensma, founder and executive chef of ChoLon restaurant concepts. After years of travel and training in Michelin-starred kitchens around the world, Lon brought his talent to Denver in 2010 and opened ChoLon Modern Asian, celebrated for its iconic soup dumplings and bold Southeast Asian flavors with American flair. Lon will be showing us how to make a variation of his signature stir-fried Brussels sprouts, a staple on the menu since ChoLon first opened. I've been dining at his restaurants for 15 years. Trust me, you're gonna love this dish. Lon, thank you so much for inviting me to ChoLon today. This looks incredible. What do we have here?
This is a signature dish that's been on ChoLon's menu since day one. It's a dish that I was inspired by when I was traveling through northern Thailand and the country of Laos. And there they do what's called a larb salad. It's a stir-fried ground pork mixture thickened with roasted rice powders that gives a nutty flavor. Typically served with like some shaved cabbage on the side and bunches of fresh herbs. So here at the restaurant, we use Brussels sprouts are in the cabbage family. Puffed rice on top is kind of a craveable dish that people have been coming to the restaurant for years to enjoy.
I absolutely adore this dish. How are we translating that to something that I can cook?
Well, a couple of different things. So we're gonna be actually building this dish into the very traditional version of how I had it originally, which is built into lettuce cups. We're gonna be making the roasted rice powder, which gives a little bit of an interesting crunchy texture.
You're from the Midwest. How did someone from Iowa develop into the executive chef and founder of ChoLon, an Asian restaurant?
I'm very proud of the fact that I've spent a lot of time traveling, and that's where I've gained a lot of my inspiration from throughout the years. I literally bought a backpack, and I spent a year backpacking through all of Asia, taking notes. ChoLon, that's the name of the restaurant, CHOLON. I stumbled across ChoLon Market, and it's in Vietnam, in Saigon. My name, oddly enough, means big. In Vietnamese, Lon means big, and Cho means market, so it means big market.
Lon, this looks divine.
Thank you so much. Let's dig in.
I love the textural component of that puffed rice.
All of those bright aromatics from the scallion, the shallot, the chili.
I'm excited for you to teach me how to make a variation of this in my home kitchen.
You live 2 blocks away. Let's go.
Let's go. Lon, I want to welcome you into my home kitchen here.
What a beautiful home you have. Thanks for the invite.
What is it that we're making?
We're gonna go a little more traditional version of the larb salad. So we're gonna highlight those Brussels sprouts again today in this salad. Oftentimes you'll serve it inside of a lettuce cup, which makes it light and fresh and healthy.
And great for parties.
Great for parties too, yes, finger foods. So the first thing we're gonna make is our roasted rice powder. So this is simply jasmine rice. You could also use sticky rice, would work as well. You could take just a little bit of this rice and put it in a mortar and pestle, and you can just go like this and smash the rice up. We're very lucky these days that we have electricity, and instead of smashing it in the mortar and pestle, we can simply add it into our spice grinder. We'll push the top. Et voila.
For those who don't have a spice grinder, you can use a blender or you can use the mortar and pestle.
Blender or mortar and pestle, exactly. Add that to our dry saute pan. We'll turn the heat on, I would say like medium to medium high, but start lightly toasting that rice.
So what are we looking for here? How do we know when it's done?
GBD, golden brown and delicious. We want to get it out of this hot pan so it doesn't continue to cook. Now, let's try just a little bit of this. It's still a little warm, so be careful. You get that depth, you get that nuttiness, you get that richness.
I like that nuttiness. I like the texture too.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it. It's 2 things. It's about the starches that you get out of the rice and the flavor from that nuttiness that you get from toasting the rice. So we're gonna make the sauce. The sauce is called nuoc cham. It's a condiment that they use on literally almost everything throughout Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore. A lot of Southeast Asian cooking, it isn't like reducing and waiting for hours and skimming stocks and sauces like, a lot of European cuisine is. They quickly combine flavors to make big, aggressive flavors. Hot, sour, salty, sweet. So this is a red Thai chili. This is what we use at the restaurant.
And these are very spicy.
These are pretty spicy, yeah. And we slice these very thinly. You may be able to find these at your local market, but a great substitute is just a beautiful jalapeno. It'll be a little less spicy. Sour here is in two different forms. Rice vinegar is like your deep acidity. Lime juice is your bright, fresh acidity. Salty here in the form of fish sauce.
It smells fishy.
It smells fishy. When you cook with it or you mix it with other things, it turns into a really, really beautiful source of umami.
So are all fish sauces made from sardines?
Sardine is the main fish that's used in most fish sauces. Yeah, they're tiny little fish. Red boat is produced in an area called Phu Quoc, which is a small little island off the southern tip of Vietnam. Like think of like champagne, right? Like the best champagne comes from the area of Champagne. A lot of the best fish sauce come from the island of Phu Quoc. This right here, this is the degrees of nitrogen. 30 is pretty good, anything 20 and below, so-so. 40 means that there's a very high ratio of fermented fish inside of this bottle. So sweet, palm sugar. Here we could substitute a light brown sugar would be great.
Look at the layers of color.
It's beautiful. And just try a little bit. And sort of kind of dissolve in your mouth.
It's very mapley.
It has some nice floral qualities as well. Just sort of rough chop it, so it's not gonna take forever to cook down. Jalapeno, just take the little stem off. Then we'll cut this in half. And I'll give you one half and push down to remove all of that pith.
So you like are really flattening it out.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't want too much of that pith because it does add a little bit of some bitterness. Cut it into long slices first. You just stack it all up nicely. If you're in culinary school, they teach you to rock your knife forward like this. Then when I lived in Asia, I saw everybody doing the complete opposite of what I had learned my entire career. I'm gonna keep my arm completely straight and I'm gonna use my elbow to pull this back. So now I have so much more control. I'm actually cutting on the back.
Well, that's a hard technique to learn. Yeah.
It takes some getting used to. You are right. So the last piece to the puzzle is a little bit of fresh garlic.
What was the inspiration to become a chef?
My parents said, do you want a car? Of course I wanted a car. So I got a job at a local diner and I was the dishwasher and I would hurry up and get my dishes done so I could run over and watch the cooks on the line. And I started working at a country club by the time I was 17. I dropped out of all sports.
You fell in love with it.
I fell in love with cooking and then cooking competitions and then culinary Olympics. 34 years now I've been cooking.
Ooh.
This is a very common thing found in the pastry world for mixing your dough in your mixing bowl. I also love to use this as like a bench scraper. Let's start to combine. So it's equal parts water to equal parts sugar. Rice vinegar. Now our salty, our fish sauce. Let's get our chili in there. Freshly minced garlic.
It looks great.
It does look great, nice job. And all we're looking to do right now is to melt the flavors together and dissolve that sugar. So now I'm gonna turn the heat off. We're gonna add the lime juice.
Oh, this smells so beautiful.
You're taking things that are very different and you're blending them together so they're
just beautifully balanced.
Yeah, exactly. So our next step is we're going to quickly marinate our ground pork. So this is simply ground pork, 70 to 30 meat to fat ratio, because we want that nice fattiness from richness from the pork. So this is just pork butt or pork shoulder. So oyster sauce is made from
oysters.
Exactly. Just quickly mix this together. And could you omit this step if somebody had a shellfish allergy? Of course. You just add a pinch more salt or a little splash of soy sauce. Now, we're gonna cut all of the aromatics. So, let's talk really quickly about rhizomes. This is ginger, right? Like regular ginger that you buy at the store. There's some other lesser known rhizomes. This is actually called galangal. It's a little more floral, a little more aromatic, very dense and woody, right? It's really hard for me to even break that. For home, being here, you can easily go to any store and grab this ginger. If you take a spoon with a fairly sharp edge, hold your thumb in place, turn towards your thumb as you're spinning it around. And here you're not getting any waste. If you were using a peeler right now, you would be peeling, I don't know, maybe 10% of the ginger off. If you have a sharp knife, you could slice this very thinly like this, or, so I have this really fun mandolin here. It's a beautiful mandolin. But just slice that like that thinly. Stack it back up into piles of 3 or 4, cut it long ways. mince it. And this is a makrut lime leaf.
Makrut.
So it's a really fun tree, and it's funny because the fruit is not that good, but the actual leaf is very aromatic.
Oh.
In your face sort of citrus smell. I'm gonna fold this in half and just rip that down. We're gonna mince our lime leaves. Kind of stack it up, roll it upon itself to keep it nice and tight. Then I'm just really quickly just going to
Oh my God, look how fine that is.
leaf dust. I hate food waste. I always try to think of any time I'm putting something in the garbage, what could I use that for? I could bring this to a quick simmer and just let it steep like tea, create a beautiful simple syrup that we could make into a great cocktail.
I love the fact that at ChoLon and your other concepts, you're always thinking about how you utilize some of these byproducts into cocktails and teas.
We throw away almost 30% of the food that we purchase in stores. That's ridiculous. Why would 1/3 of what we buy go into the garbage when you can be thoughtful as a chef or as a cook at home to say, hey, why am I putting that in the trash? There's gotta be something I can do with that. So green onion, we only actually wanna use the white for this application. At the restaurant, we have dozens of other applications that utilize the green.
For the home cook, what could they potentially use this for?
We could easily add these in as an herbal component. We get to practice the backstroke again. If you were in a French kitchen, these would be called rondelles.
Rondelles. All right, shallots.
I'll curl my finger and just
Your slices are like you had a measuring tape.
run this through. And we're gonna go back to our backstroke. It just takes a little extra effort when you get to the end. In a Larb salad, raw cabbage is a very common ingredient. I use Brussels sprouts as my inspiration for the cabbage. Also for a little bit of color, I think red cabbage is really fun too. And I've already cut these in halves, and all we wanna do is shave about halfway through. I'm gonna quarter this cabbage, and then we'll do about equal parts of the red cabbage. One of the basics of Larb salad is tons and tons of herbs. We have our Thai basil, which is very similar to Italian basil, but maybe has a little bit more of like a licorice flavor to it. The next one is mint, right? Just very common mint, the same one that we have here. And cilantro is fun because we know it and we love it. But also most people pick all of the leaves like this. What's funny is when you go to Asia, this is the most sought after piece. So it's totally fine to use like 95% of that stem.
I will pick the herbs.
Okay, I'm gonna start picking the lettuce cups. So I don't wanna use these really big outer leaves. I wanna chop these and add them into a salad. But what I'm looking for this dish, of these really tender inner leaves, it creates a little bit of a boat that we're gonna be able to put all of those delicious flavors into. Our final step is to cook the pork. Now we just wanna add maybe like a tablespoon of oil. Not too much because the pork has a lot of fat in it. Let's get this pan really nice and smoking hot in order to achieve a similar sort of smoke that's coming off of the wok. In Chinese cooking, they call that the wok hei. And that's that bitter flavor that develops by stir frying things. I'm trying to make it so every piece of the pork is in contact with some part of that hot metal. And sprinkle the ginger on top. And go ahead and just add all of that. Sprinkle those scallions on top. There we go. Yeah, great caramelization. Look at that, it's very nice. Just want to break it up into pieces. We want it to be ground. We don't want it to be like a patty. We're going to add our sauce.
Nuoc cham.
Nuoc cham, yeah. Let's grab your roasted rice powder. So let's start with about maybe 2 tablespoons. The rice actually has to start to cook and absorb.
So what consistency are you looking for?
Saucy, but thick enough to where it's going to be nice and tight in that cup and not get like too messy. A nice, beautiful lime leaf, sprinkle that in. Just gonna gently toss.
Do you want to see if our official taste tester likes what we did today?
Either is this very hungry or we did a very nice job. One of the two.
I think we killed it.
Now it's the fun part. So let's start with our cabbage mix. 50-50, Brussels sprout and the red cabbage mix. I'm gonna take just a little bit of this cooking liquid just to kind of toss it together so it holds. I'm gonna grab a lettuce cup. Why don't you grab one too? We'll take a little bit of this cabbage mixture, a couple pieces of basil, a couple pieces of mint, cilantro. You really wanna push them down in there. 2 spoonfuls like that. And we're gonna garnish with some of the sticky rice powder.
Cheers.
You can even hear that texture of the crunch.
I love that textural component.
Sweet, it's sour, there's salty in there.
There's some meatiness to it, some freshness, bright. This is so good. I'm totally making this for my next party. Lon, thank you so much for showing me how to make a traditional lob salad today.
It's my pleasure. You're a great sous chef.
Yeah, killed it. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to Chef Lon and ChoLon Modern Asian. If you want to make this dish, you can find the recipe on our website at chefinit.com. I'll see you next time on Chefin' It.